Hello everyone and welcome. This is Lisa. I'd like to apologize straight off today for the glare in the video. Today we're going to be making clear cards out of acetate or window sheets, so they have quite a reflective quality. We're going to be making a graduation card. As you can see, it's clear with some awesome elements. Even though it's clear, you can still write your sentiment or stamp your sentiment on the inside. And this is a birthday card that I made previously. I had stamped it in white Stays-On ink, and then I realized that Stampin' Up! No longer carried that. So today I'm going to be using the balloon bouquet punch. I'm going to be using the larger of the two balloons. I'm using the Congrats die out of the Sunshine Wishes Thinlits set. And I'm going to cut out 15, yes, I said that right, 15 white balloons and 3 black ones. You'll see why later in the video why I do this. So I'm bringing in my Stampin' Trimmer. Our window sheets come as 12 by 12. I've cut mine down to 4 1/4 by 11 inches. And I will be bringing in my window sheet in just a second. There it is. See, there's the glare of the light, and I do again apologize for that. So I'm lining up the end of it at 5 1/2 inches, which is the halfway point between 11 inches. I'm going to slide my cutting blade down to the bottom so I don't make a mistake. Now I'm taking my scoring blade, and with a little extra pressure, I'm going back and forth several times just to reinforce that score line. Okay, now I'm going to take the ends of the piece of acetate here and I'm lining them up perfectly. So as you can see, I fiddle around with it for just a minute. Now I'm going to place it right up against that edge on the Stampin' Trimmer, and then I'm going to very gently with my other hand fold down where the score line is. And you can see that it's straight because it's across that 1/4 inch line there. I'm trying to cover up the light so that you can see it a little better. Okay, next I'm going to be bringing in a soft cloth. Mine is a microfiber cloth with something stuck to it. And I'm going to lay down my piece of acetate, and I'm going to close the cloth, and I'm going to bring in my bone folder, and I'm going to burnish this over the top of the cloth. If you take the bone folder directly to the acetate, it will scratch it, so that's why I'm doing it this way. So I do this several times until I'm pretty sure that my card is flat and it looks pretty good. But I have a few other things to do, so I'm going to set something heavy on it. This is my tin of polychromos, and it's pretty heavy, so I'm going to take that and set it aside while we do other things. So now I have a piece of black cardstock and a piece of our multi-purpose adhesive, and I'm going to peel the release paper off the back of the adhesive, and I'm going to take the black cardstock, which is cut slightly larger than the adhesive sheet, and lay it down over the top. We're going to be cutting 2 dies out of this piece. That's why it's as big as it is. And as you can see, we have lots of room. I could have cut it smaller. So I'm bringing in the Big Shot platform, the thin die adapter, and some kind of piece of string that wants to stick to me, and a clear cutting pad. And then I'm going to lay my cardstock piece down with the die on top on the black side, and then a clear cutting sheet, and I'm going to pass that through the Big Shot. Okay, I've done that, and now I'm taking my paper piercing tool and I'm poking it out. I could have used my brush, but I was in a hurry and I thought it would come out a little easier. Didn't take long though, peeled right out. So I'm going to set that aside. I'm going to keep my sandwich the same, only this time I'm going to flip the paper over. So the white side or the adhesive side is showing, and I have that down, and I'm going to pass that through my Big Shot. What I wanted to do by doing this step is I wanted to have a congrats that has adhesive on the front of it and another piece that has adhesive on the back. So we're going to use this a little later, so I'm going to set it aside. What I've done here is I've stacked up 3 of the congrats. I've ran them through my Big Shot, and 3 times, or actually 4. I'm putting the 4th piece. This is just to create some dimension. I've just used the Tombow glue here. I have it in a small quill tip bottle, which helps me because I'm very messy with glue. And as you can see, I'm just putting little beads of glue all over. This is not hard to do at all because glue does give you a little wiggle room. So I'm just placing this on top of the other stacked pieces, excuse me. And I'm just sort of messing around till I get them straight. Now I'm bringing in one of my black balloon dies, and I am using Versamark. My Versamark pad needed to be re-inked, but I didn't realize that until I had already started. Now you've seen me heat emboss 1,000 times, so I have gone ahead and sped this part of the video up. You can skip it entirely if you would like. I'm just covering the balloon well with the clear embossing powder. And now I'm going to take my heat tool, warm it up, and take it to the balloon and melt the embossing powder. And as you can see when we're done, it has sort of a bumpy texture. That's because my Versamark pad was dry. Can you see that there? It looks kind of cool though, so I'm going to leave it. Normally I would go ahead and put another layer of the embossing powder on there. So I'm bringing in the congrats. This is the stacked piece. Again, I'm putting Versamark all over. Still not having re-inked my pad. Okay. And then I'm going to grab it just by the top corner of that end there. I'm going to bring in my clear embossing powder again and spoon some powder over the entire piece, making sure I cover it well. Tapping off the extra. Now this thing I'm bringing in is just a standard kitchen cutting board. I do this sometimes when I heat emboss because I don't want to set my paper on fire and I don't want to burn my fingers. I have done both. So I'm just moving my heat tool until all of the powder melts. And I think I have it all melted until I bring it up and I realize that I missed a little piece on the G, so that's easily fixed. We're just going to bring the heat tool back in and heat that up again. Okay, so there we go. And you can see that it has that same bumpy texture as the balloon. So I think that's pretty cool. I've gone ahead and done the other balloons off camera, so you only had to watch it once. I apologize for all the breaks in this. I got interrupted many times while I was filming this. Okay, so now I'm bringing in the softly falling embossing folder and a scrap of the silver foil, and I'm placing it in the bottom of the embossing folder because that's where the most dots are, or snowflakes, whatever those are supposed to be. Here's my sandwich. I'm using the Big Shot platform, and you'll notice that I did not use the thin die adapter. So it's the platform, a clear cutting sheet, the embossing folder, and another cutting sheet. So I ran this through the Big Shot, and this is what I have. Again, I'm only using the large balloons for the entire project, so I'm going to cut out 2 here. And you'll see that I have some left over for another project. I'm going to spare you watching me tie strings and tie the strings to things and make bows because it's painful to watch. So I'm just using black baker's twine, and I'm also using white baker's twine. Now next I'm bringing in the tear and tape. I'm going to put this on the back of all 15 balloons. This does take a couple of minutes to do. So you probably could use snail, but this is going to go through the mail, so I want to be sure that it has good adherence to the card. So again, I've done this to all 15 white balloons. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought, and the 3 black ones. Okay, so I'm bringing in my congrats that's going to go on the front of the card. It has the adhesive on the back, so I'm pulling the release paper off the back. And then I realized that I had forgotten to put the glue on the other side so that I could attach that last piece to it. So I'm setting it down, and I'm bringing my glue back in, and I'm going to put the glue down just like I did before. And then this way the adhesive will be facing the back, which is the piece that's going to go on the front of the card. So the adhesive will stick to the front of the card. You'll see what I mean in just a minute. I'm trying to do this fast, but as I said before, I'm terrible with glue, so it takes me a little bit. I have to be careful. Okay, so now I have that done. I'm just going to carefully place this over the top of the glue. I realized I missed a couple spots, so I'm sticking some more on there. And trying not to touch the adhesive part too much, I'm gently laying this down. Again, not difficult to do because it is glue and it does give you a little wiggle room. And it's looking pretty good, just messing around with a little placement right here at the end. Okay, looks good. Next, I'm going to bring in my paper piercer. There it is. And I'm just gently tapping that down to make sure that the glue is adhering to that last piece. Okay. Now I'm bringing back in my card, and I'm going to place this congrats at the bottom of the card. But I realized that I want to use the grid paper to line up the cards so that I can get perfect placement. Grid paper is an awesome tool. If you don't have any, I highly recommend it. So now I have to mess around a little bit with that C because it came unglued. No problem at all. It's going to stick. I just need to push it down a little harder. Okay, so now I have that down. Somehow I've lost the footage of me arranging the balloons. I'm not sure how that happened, but it did. So now I'm going to tie a string around the balloons. Again, not making you watch that. And I'm bringing in a mini glue dot to place behind the bow. This is small and it's clear, so you won't be able to see it at all on the back. So that's not anything that we're going to need to hide. So I'm messing around with the bow as I always do because I can never get them right. I just don't know what my deal is with bows. I just have a learning block or something. I just can't do it. I have to use a bow jig. In this case, I couldn't. So now I'm trimming off the bottom, and I probably should have left it a little longer, but I didn't. So I'm just going to take the baker's twine and fray it out a little bit. And so here's the front of our card. Looks pretty cool. Okay, so here's the other side. So you can see that we have the adhesive, the pop dots, all that. So we want to cover it up. So here is where we bring in our 15 white balloons. Now I've gone ahead and peeled all the backing paper off of the tear and tape because I'm pretty sure that you didn't want to sit there and watch me peel tape off or backing paper off of all of those balloons. So it doesn't matter which way you place these, as long as they line up with the front. Okay, so here we have the front of the card and the back of the card. And next, I don't realize that I'm off camera, and I apologize for that, but I'm bringing in the congrats that has the adhesive on the front. So I'm peeling off the backing paper here, and I'm going to place this directly behind the congrats that is on the front of the card. That way you won't be able to see any of the adhesive. So that's what I'm doing now down there below. I don't realize at all that I'm off camera. I film with my phone, so sometimes a little difficult. So see, you can see nothing. So that's the front of the card. That's the back of the inside. Now I folded this over and I've started placing the balloons on the very back of the card. That's because we can see through the card and know where to place the balloons. Again, it doesn't matter which order you put the balloons in. You may want to pay a little attention if you intend to stamp your handmade by or just write made by, whatever you want to do. Okay, so now that we have the back ones on, so you can see the adhesive, but it's easy to tell where the balloons go. Now this is where you would put your sentiment, either stamped or written. So you may want to, depending on what you're going to put there, you may want to pay attention to this one piece here where you're going to place these balloons. I don't typically write a lot inside of my cards, so I'm just putting the two in the front. You may have seen the picture at the beginning of the video. Okay, so there's our card. It looks pretty good. I'm trying to flip it over so that you can see all the places in it. And again, I'm sorry for the glare, but I think it looks pretty cool. So here it is on a piece of cardstock so you can see it better. That dimension of the congrats on the front looks awesome. I'm really glad that I took that step. It took me about an hour to make this card. So thank you for spending time with me today. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe and like the video. It helps my channel grow. And we will see you next time. Until then, happy crafting.